Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June 21st, 2018 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I am your host, Ephrom Josine. Now, over the past couple of weeks, we've been a little nicer on the president than I've typically been. I kind of like how he handled the North Korea situation. I am disappointed, though, in his caving in to open borders extremists when it came to how he handled the detention centers. When he actively said, okay, fine, we'll reverse it, we'll keep the parents with their kids. When I don't think criminals should be with their kids. You know, just personally, I wouldn't trust a murderer with their kids. I wouldn't trust a thief with their kids. I wouldn't trust an illegal immigrant with their kids. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned like that. And can I mention the kind of ironic that the party of law and order was the first to cave into it? Although I do have to point out, it is funny how right-wing media was angry Obama did this. You know, if you listen to right-wing media, you get the impression that everything Donald Trump did is something Obama did, and that Obama is bad. I'll let you connect that. However, I can go back to making fun of this administration, as it was officially announced that UN Ambassador Nikki Haley that the United States will now leave the United Nations Human Rights Council. Now, of course, Secular Talk was covering this, and he was sort of making jokes like, well, wait, isn't that one of the biggest human rights violators of the Human Rights Council? But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to break down why she left. Because the Trump administration has been threatening the United Nations for a very long time. Mainly, again, because one of his best buddies, and someone he's been on the show of, I think even as president a few times, is Alex Jones. Now, one of the first reasons was after the administration's decision to move the embassy to Jerusalem, officially making it a unified capital, the UN didn't like that, and a good amount of members, said, no, you shouldn't be able to do that. Now, they did that in the General Assembly, meaning that it had absolutely no power, but still, Nikki Haley was angry at it, as was the administration of Benjamin Netanyahu, who are convinced that there is an anti-UN conspiracy going on, or an anti-Israel conspiracy going on in the UN. It should be noted that the UN created Israel, and between Israel and Palestine, guess which one has a state recognized by the UN? And if you guess wrong, I will do something to you, and you won't like that. This was made even more clear when there was a resolution to condemn Israel for the violence in Gaza, where 0 Israelis were killed and 100% of the people were killed were in Gaza or Palestine. Of course, Nikki Haley and some other people tried to amend the resolution to also blame Hamas. However, that failed because they had no responsibility for getting shot. And it's debatable whether or not Hamas was even there. But that's another story. Essentially, now there was another resolution later introduced to specifically just condemn Hamas in general, which did get a majority, but not 2/3, and as such was not passed. So Nikki Haley and the Trump administration essentially said, screw it, I quit, and now left the UN's Security Council on Human Rights. Okay, here's some news on Canada. Yeah, I really ran out of news. I'm just looking through stories at this point. Here's some news on Canada. Apparently, they have become the first nation in G7, as well as the second nation worldwide to legalize marijuana. Now, of course, certain states in the United States, where this show is filmed, have legalized marijuana for recreational use, and by that I mean 2. And several others have legalized it for medical purposes and are expected to legalize it for complete recreational use this November. However, Canada has just said, let's skip all that and just legalize it now. Honestly, I'm completely in favor of this. I don't see an issue, and I think this is perfectly good. Anyway, you know what? That's it tonight. It's a Thursday night. That's basically a Friday here. I'm gonna do a shorter show tonight. Why not? I'm Ephrom, and good night.